Hello, viewers. Welcome to this fireside chat on rethinking availability and backup strategy. These days, IT needs to think not one, but several steps ahead, taking ransomware, vendor lock-in, storage capacity, cloud mobility, as well as unpredictable world economical and health factors into the equation. To add a cherry on top, the events of 2020 and 2021 have compounded these pressures, from the explosion of remote working to the increasing sophistication of security attacks. Data protection needs to be a priority. Between September and December 2020, an independent research company asked 3,000 IT professionals from 28 countries about their backup, and it turned out that only 63% of backups completed on time without errors, and 33% of all restored tasks fail to be successful. Against this backdrop, we have with us two senior enterprise technology leaders who will throw light on how to ensure an always-on enterprise. Please join me in welcoming Mr. CK Prasad, Executive Director IT, RailTel Corporation of India, and Mr. Sandeep Bhambure, Vice President and Managing Director, India and SAARC for Veeam. Welcome, gentlemen. I'll start with Mr. Prasad. Sir, during a crisis situation like the current pandemic, ensuring continuity of operations is extremely important. How crucial is data availability for RailTel in ensuring continuity of operations?
Data availability is extremely important for the operations. A lot of data is generated during the operation as the operation cycle starts. And a lot of decisions are based on the data. For example, movement of the rolling stock and also seeing the path availability and the time and all those type of things which are to be handled so that the logistic supply chain can go seamlessly. Data availability, since the requirement is on 24/7 basis, 365 days, and we tend to provide the most important underscoring thing here is that the resiliency. So resiliency becomes very important, and in this entire activity, the idea is we have tried to automate this process, and automation is extremely important because to curb the human error when there's a plenty of a backup task or the task which requires the data to be available. When you have a plethora or huge chunk of applications and data is being generated through various applications, it's become very important that based on the requirement of each application, the processes are automated. And that is what we have done almost at the time of COVID. And we could channelize that infrastructure to the advantage to maintain the services and uptime.
Sure. Wonderful, sir. Let me come back to Sandeep. Now, Sandeep, during the past year and a half, why and how has data availability and backup become so important for businesses?
Yeah, let me set the context, Yashvendra, over here. So, we've seen decades of transformation in the last few months, and particularly after the pandemic. So, I think across the board, customers have started depending even more on IT to help them in the transformation journey and then to cope up with the surrounding. Simple thing like customers, expecting their employees to work from home or work from anywhere. It is posing different bunch of challenges, including the security of their data, then the adoption of cloud and acceleration of workloads to cloud to reduce, possible disruptions in the business because of pandemic or any other unforeseen circumstance is really, pushing the availability challenge, to a different level. And I think, it is even becoming more important now for the customers to look at RPO and RTO of their mission critical workloads and applications and the data, because all the solutions that existed for several decades out there, the legacy backup solutions, they are not able to meet the changing expectations of business today, and that is the big challenge for customers. So the legacy applications were basically made to protect workloads 1.5-2 decades back. What customers are looking at today is like moving to cloud and protecting workloads on cloud. A whole lot of applications have been virtualized, securing their endpoint data. And then you have the continuous threat from malicious attackers or cyber threats and ransomware and so on. So, the importance of backup and availability is more than ever before. And I would like to compare that with, with a seat belt, right? Particularly the safety and the protection measures that you would want to use, so that you get the confidence that when you are accelerating on a highway, you are absolutely safe for against any unforeseen circumstances. So if you want to really accelerate in your digital transformation, the first thing that customers are recognizing is they need to have the backup and availability strategy in place.
Absolutely. Great. Wonderful, Sandeep. Like you said, CIOs and CTOs are now looking at RTO and RPO, these parameters in completely new light. Sure. Prasad sir, we know that a large number of banks are also dependent on RailTel services for their data communication needs. This makes protection of data very crucial for your organization. So how do you enable greater data protection and business agility? Both these parameters together?
Yeah, the bank connectivity is primarily on MPLS network, which is a mesh network, and it provides a very high degree of redundancy. And failure of one path, it doesn't affect the services. The data, the protection which we were using earlier, maybe prior to or I should say 3 years back, for each application there was a different type of strategy and a different product as such. Then we thought that this may not go well, this may not scale going forward, and we wanted basically a consistent type of data protection and backup and replication systems. So what we did is we were looking for the various solutions, and then we, as that on the cloud you have various services. It's a consumption model, and so as part of anything as a service, we implemented backup and replication as a service to ensure that we can use that service across all the various workloads. And also various workloads have their own different demand for the backup window time. So we went with a availability suite actually, which can console common dashboard through which we can manage all the data backup tasks, and we can also verify that the backup has happened successfully, and it has. In fact, a step forward, what we did is we also offered this to our customers, so they can themselves see this through the dashboard that their backup is happening and within that existing window. In fact, some of the workloads used to take a lot of time for the backup, and that we have been able to reduce backup window for that to bring in higher efficiency and productivity on those applications. In fact, we follow 3-2-1 strategy. That is 3 copies to we take on a different site, and basically 3 different sites and 2 different media, so that we can even there is a, let us say, a ransomware attack and all, we can always recover from that trusted backup. And the flexibility of the backup, what we have adopted is that we can do a physical to virtual and virtual VM, or a physical server to a virtual medium, or a private cloud to let us say AWS cloud. So the solution what we adopted, and in fact the Veeam Availability Suite, which we have deployed, is helping us to basically have greater flexibility in handling these multiple backup requirements from various customers. For each customer, the requirement is unique. So, and this is helping us to do that. And we are building on this platform and scaling up this entire solution going forward.
So Sandeep, I'm sure you would have read reports. The number of ransomware attacks grew by more than 150% in 2020. Yeah. Ransomware attacks not only grew in numbers, but also in scale and sophistication. The average ransom demand increased by more than 2-fold and amounted to $170,000 in 2020. Yes. What's the way ahead for technology leaders here?
Yeah, so CK was alluding to a very appropriate strategy or plan for customers, and particularly when it comes to availability, which is called as the 3-2-1, backup policy. And I think we have extended or gone a little bit beyond that. We call it as 3-2-1-1-0. Okay, so what it means is, customers need to create 3 copies of backup of their data, and then 2 on a different media. 1 should be offsite, and that one offsite copy needs to be air gapped. Okay, so backup is the last line of defense against any ransomware or threat or loss of data, anything that can be dangerous for availability. Right? And our recommendation to customers have been that keep the data air gapped, which means that you can either push your backup copy to an S3 compliant object storage, which could be on cloud, or for several other customers, they may choose to have this backup on-prem as well, on maybe an object storage, which can actually render the data completely immutable against any ransomware attack. So these are the capabilities that we are supporting as part of the Veeam availability platform. And when I say 32110, the 0 stands for your ability to instantly recover the data. That's the guarantee that the backup copies has 0 errors in terms of its recoverability. So this is what we have been incorporating as part of, and then extending this capabilities as part of the availability platform, which CK was alluding to. And I think this is the requirement across the board for any customers today. In fact, it is not only cloud first, but it's also about protecting your data, because customers are preparing that in an eventuality of breach, okay, can they secure their data and make their organization and business resilient? That is the most important lesson that has been learned from this pandemic and the last few months in the business, and that's where we have been helping our customers.
Prasad sir, like Sandeep said, it's cloud first for every enterprise. We've seen the uptake of cloud grow massively in the last 1.5 years. You are also leveraging backup, cloud for backup. What do you look for in a partner? Rather, what do you suggest to other peers, other technology leaders? What should they look for in a partner if they want to leverage cloud for their backup and replication and availability needs?
Yeah, on the backup, what is required is basically to provide automation, and there should be various. Each customer has a different requirement, and the backup solution should be able to meet those type of demands. So any backup solution, obviously, we take backup for resiliency, for basically business continuity, and if the backup solution doesn't serve that purpose, it really is just for compliance or something. It doesn't make much sense going forward. So a backup should also evolve. A backup should evolve. For example, if to handle ransomware attack, for example, immutable backup, let us say. So in our scenario, what we did is, apart from the flexibility what we have to take a backup in the cloud, we developed edge cloud as well. So we have put, and through that, since we have two availability zones or two regions, we created a third region so that we can basically have 3-to-1 backup policy. And that has been serving well. But going forward, as the technology evolves, as the threat landscape changes, and as the business requirement keeps changing, the backup solution has to evolve, and a partner who can do that, who can basically work as a extended arm of our organization, who can support us in various migrations, let us say, not only backup and recovery, but even data migration from one cloud to other cloud through the same tool or same application solution. I would recommend that that type of partner is a partner to go for, and you can trust him and go together to the market as well to solve problems for the customers.
Sure. Sandeep, do you agree with Mr. Prasad there? What else comes to your mind when a CIO is looking at a cloud service provider?
Oh, certainly. I mean, agree with every point that CK mentioned. In fact, customers' expectations from backup has gone beyond plain backup. So it's no longer about just protecting your data, but can you go beyond backup to help us with disaster recovery, ensuring that any workload could be recovered either from cloud or from on-prem or from DR side in less than 5 minutes. Customers are expecting that technologies like CDP should be available at an affordable cost, so that they could take the benefits of near zero RPO. And then going beyond that, I think as customers move to adopting cloud in a big way, and they're looking at even meeting the expectations of their internal or auditors or external regulatory bodies by generating reports that could give confidence back to these authorities. Uh, CK spoke about ransomware protection. That is another big expectation from backup. Just goes beyond plain backup. Can you help us in securing data, building that last line of defense against ransomware? That is again key. For many progressive organizations, and particularly in the BFSI space as well as in the ITES space, who are experimenting with new technologies, they're looking at containers and Kubernetes adoption in a big way, looking at data protection for those workloads as well. But what we are seeing as a more relevant and very important use case, particularly in the government, the public sectors, or even in defense establishment with whom we work across the country and this region, Yashvendra, is around protecting unstructured information. So there's huge amount of unstructured information lying in particularly the government establishments, and then the backup strategy that has been implemented so far is good in possibly securing the database and the structured information. Okay, but when it comes to securing NAS data, file server data, file share data, the backup policy, if not in line with the government's, the company's expectation, could actually pose a big risk to the data. So we have invested in ensuring that even the unstructured data is being protected, and the backup SLAs have been made there. And this is particularly relevant in the PSU, public sector, and the government space, where you have huge amounts of information and then scattered across multiple locations. So how do you protect that and make all of this technology, democratize it and make it very affordable? So that has been one of the key focus here. You spoke about one survey, and I think we have a complementing research that we did across the globe when we spoke to more than 2,500 plus CIOs and technical decision makers. So almost 100%, I'd say like more than 95% of the respondents said that cloud is going to be one of the key strategies for them. 80% of them responded saying that there is an availability gap that they see in the setup, and the number one challenge for any customer to change from an incumbent backup solution or a legacy backup solution to a more modern solution like Veeam is reliability of backup. And that's because you spoke about 63%. We got numbers in the same range, that almost that percentage, 60% of the customers responded saying that their backup either fails or the recovery fails. So there's so much of reliability concern around data protection. So I think yes, data protection backup is key, but then it's gone beyond backup, VR, and then getting into much broader extensibility of the availability platform, which I tried to explain earlier.
Mr. Prasad, Sandeep spoke about CDP, continuous data protection. What are your views on this? How critical, how crucial is it, and how are you leveraging it in your organization?
So coming to continuous data protection, we have different databases running as a single standalone, as a cluster, and then we have open source databases. We have structured, like MySQL database. We have that follows a 4th generation query language. We have also NoSQL database, and we have Hadoop, which is for big data, and those type of environments we are running, quite diverse. The challenge is that for each of these, using the specific tools provided by the database vendor, you have to really your team has to learn each and every of these aspects. So a common database backup or data backup platform actually helps in basically removing those type of inconsistencies across the platform and bring basically uniform layer. And that type of approach we have adopted, and going forward, it is helping us in really monitoring the SLAs or the backup and replication through that tool. So CDP is important for mission critical applications, and it's going forward. Other applications where the dependencies of various applications are increasing. Like, for example, a lot of APIs are there between one application and other application, and a lot of data exchange keeps happening. And going forward, the tool has to really scale, or the solution should scale to basically handle this type of demands going forward. As Sandeep also pointed out, that serverless or container Kubernetes clusters, what type of workloads also have to be are coming up, and we have to manage that backup for that as well. So the solution should become more and more versatile from that standpoint, and should be able to handle container workloads as well as the Veeam form factor and the bare metal physical service across all these diverse platforms and across multi-cloud. So this is what is the ask from a cloud service provider like us.
Great. Sandeep, final thoughts from you. I wanted to know what is the impact of a robust availability and backup strategy on various business parameters in an enterprise, like your productivity, customer satisfaction, sales, employee engagement. Final comments from you on this.
I think a very robust availability strategy gives a lot of confidence to businesses to accelerate on their cloud and initiatives, which is the most important achievement, I think, because all of these are going to drive not only productivity but also the customer satisfaction and customer experience, which is what organizations are today looking at. How to improve customer experience despite the pandemic. How can they make their business more agile, IT more agile, to drive higher revenues for their business, look at more innovative ideas and implement those, and then support that with IT. And that all of these can be achieved when you have a robust availability strategy. At the same time, meeting the compliance requirements, internal as well as external, and then ensuring that you're de-risking your business from some of these external threats. All of that gives tremendous amount of confidence. If you have an availability platform that can help you, in your overall business agenda. So I think a robust availability is pushing enterprises business agenda to the next level, particularly in a very dynamic and a disruptive environment that we are in.
Wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for. We've come to the end of this session. As you heard the two experts, there is no denying the fact that data protection is the linchpin for any business. Global enterprises can save several hours each day by replacing manual backup practices with automated backup monitoring, alerting, and reporting, making it easier to reach 99% backup success rates. I would once again like to thank Mr. Prasad and Mr. Bhambure for their time and inputs. Thank you, gentlemen, and have a wonderful day ahead. Keep watching ETGovernment DigiTech Conclave. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yashvendra. Thank you, CK. Thank you, all the viewers.